Tim Black. Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am. True. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black. What up, people? How you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to another edition of No Sellouts. As you can tell, there's a little bit difference going on with the video tonight, and that's because, frankly, I've been under the weather for the last couple of days, and I didn't line up a No Sellouts guest, but the work must go on. Oh, the work's got to go on, people. It's got to go on. It's got to go on. We must continue to work. And instead of taking the day off because of the flu bug or whatever this is, or because I didn't get a chance to line up and due to the holidays, schedule someone for today, that doesn't mean we can't cover a lot of stories that have been going on the last 48 hours, last 72 hours that have just been horrific. So we got to dig into it. So I hope that you are down for that, my people on Periscope, YouTube, and on Facebook, because there is a lot of news. You better believe it, a lot of news. I like to start off with a piece I call sometimes a little, sometimes you got to give somebody props. Sometimes you got to give them props. Senator John McCain tells Hillary Clinton to shut up. When I looked at that headline of that story, I said, wow, this shows you how much both sides work together, doesn't it? I mean, John McCain is well-positioned to be able to make this claim because of his running for presidency and also the admiration that the Democrats seem to hold for John McCain. They can't say he's a right-wing extremist, warmongering, psychopath. I mean, they could say it, but they would never say it because, he's been on their side on a couple of issues. The Democratic Party likes their right-wing psychopaths a certain kind of way. And John McCain seems to meet that mode or fit the mode of what they like. So it's duly problematic for John McCain to say this about Hillary Clinton. So what exactly did he say? Senator John McCain says Hillary Clinton should not have published her book so soon after losing the 2016 election because it makes her look like she's still campaigning and has nothing else to do. Wow, it does look that way, doesn't it? Every once in a while, it seems like these political types, they join our groups or they float among us. And I think what it is that John McCain has people that work for him who actually use the internet. And they go through and they follow some of you guys. Maybe they follow you, Jeff Miami. Maybe they're following you. Maybe they're following you. I don't know, Lumpy Louise. Maybe they're following you. Van Dyke? Maybe they're following you out there. What's some people they may be following when they make these comments? Facebook. Maybe, just maybe, they have their interns or whatever looking at what we say. So the rare occasion that they seem to be saying something that makes sense, I believe it's because they've been looking at what we've been saying. What do you think? What do you think, Stephanie Gonzalez? What do you think, Cindy K? I think so. Uli, I think they've been watching you. So anyway, now this is where it really gets interesting. And people don't like when I drop F-bombs on this show, but come on, it's in the copy. How many times am I going to be able to use an F-bomb in the copy from a senator? I gotta like really lean in on this one. What's the fucking point? That's right. Keep the fight up. Hillary would judge that campaign, and it's always a period of time before they do. Oh, I'm sorry. History would judge the campaign, and it's always a matter of time before they do. This is what McCain told Esquire magazine in a long interview on Monday. You've got to move on. This is Hillary's problem right now. She doesn't have anything to do. Oh, God, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is why you do this show, whether you're 100% or you're 70%, because the content, it just pumps you up, man. I feel better than I felt when I was taking the medication laying in bed. This story. See, they were kissing, like, there were people kissing John McCain's butt because he decided to be human and not vote for that horrible health bill, right? Right? He decided to be a human being. And that's cool, okay? So I'm glad he voted for that. I give him props, or should I say, voting nay on that bill. I give him props for that, man. You got to give people props when they do the right thing, okay? Here's the deal. I don't think McCain is saying anything wrong here in his comments to Esquire magazine regarding Hillary Clinton. And I think a lot of Democrats, though they are hamstringed, they're tied down. They can't say what they think. They can't be real about their opinions. This is one thing I've been wanting my wolf pack to know. Not all Democrats are sellouts, right? Not all Republicans are sellouts. Some of them are hacks, though, meaning if the word up above is that you can't talk, they won't talk. If the word up above says you have to toe the line, they toe the line. I believe that many Democrats want Hillary Clinton as far off in the woods as humanly possible. That doesn't mean you vote for him. That's not what I'm saying. Hold up, I'm not saying vote for him. What I'm saying is I believe that, all right? I believe they agree with John McCain, even though they will never publicly be able to come out and say it. So McCain is 81 years old. He spoke with the magazine about, I don't even know why they put that there. McCain, 81. That's what they do. McCain, 81. Spoke with the magazine about his recent cancer diagnosis, his mutual animosity between him and President Trump. But he had sharp criticism for Clinton as well, arguing that the defeated Democratic candidate should have taken a page from his 2008 presidential bid as a Republican against Barack Obama. Now, this is getting even more juicy. And look, this is not hearsay. This is not gossip. This is just damn good reporting. He says, one of the almost irresistible impulses you have when you lose is to somehow justify why you lost and how you were mistreated. I did the right thing. The hardest thing to do is to just shut up. Booyah! Booyah! Booyaka, 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 booyaka. You never shut up. There was a Run DMC song called Shut Up, wasn't it? You never shut up, homeboy. You talk too much. You never. Was that them or was it Houdini? I'm thinking Run DMC. I got my mic up. All right. This is a very interesting article. You can find this article. This is on Newsweek.com. John McCain tells Hillary Clinton to shut up. And what the F, I already used my F-bomb, what the F do you want? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. Give it up for that story. All right. Let's switch gears, guys. Let's switch gears, okay? Project Veritas, as you know, is run by James O'Keefe. If you do not know, Project Veritas is an organization that does its best to expose corruption, malfeasance in our media, or what have you. They're most notably known for cracking in on Acorn, an organization that they said was dealing with prostitutes or something, and James O'Keefe got sued, and all this stuff happened. Now, you remember, Acorn's an organization that Obama worked for a point in time. I worked for Acorn, too, back in the 90s. I just helped clean up neighborhoods. I didn't know that, and try to end redlining. But, hey, you know, there's this lawsuit, whatever. Okay, so Acorn all but folded after this expose. Now, Project Veritas finds itself back in the news today because they wanted to spoof the Washington Post. Yes, the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos. Is that a bee? No, it's not a bee. It's a ladybug. It's a ladybug flying in my studio. Now, the Washington Post, as you know, is owned by Jeff Bezos, which was purchased by Jeff Bezos for more money than the paper is worth. He got a contract from the CIA, which is worth more money than the paper is worth than what he paid for the paper. But hey. Most people don't care about that. What they care about is that the Washington Post has been the one who's been publishing all the allegations against Roy Moore. Now, Roy Moore, the Alabama, he just won the nomination for the Republican Party. He's also been alleged to be a serial sexual harasser and molester of children. So people are saying the Washington Post is going after Roy Moore dishonestly. And Project Veritas was there to prove that that was the case. So what they did is they sent in a woman. They sent in a woman to fabricate a story, totally false story, to the Washington Post and try to get the Washington Post to run with it. Washington Post wants credit for not running with the story and finding out this woman was a liar and finding out they were being spoofed because they saw this woman. I'm trying to find her name. I'll get to it later. They found this woman walking into the offices of Project Veritas, and they said, aha, now we have you. You thought you got us, but we got you. You thought you got us, but we got you. We did that. And it goes like this. This is the headline here. This is from the Huffington Post. Because I will not pay money to read the Washington Post. Washington Post has a pay gate, and I will not cover stories. I will not pay a fee to read their shitty newspaper. I just won't do it, man. Won't do it. Won't do it. Won't do it. So I'll use another entity that's reporting on it. Another attempt to discredit the Washington Post. Roy Moore reports backfires. The sting attempted, apparently led by Project Veritas, was the essence of a scheme to deceive and embarrass us, a Post editor said. For weeks, Republican Senate nominee Roy Moore and supporters of his Alabama campaign have attacked the journalistic integrity of the Washington Post for publishing what they say are false allegations. That Moore sexually harassed teenage girls when he was in his 30s. One of the allegations is that Roy Moore used to cruise the malls looking for hot chicks. When I say hot chicks, I mean very young, like girls, teenage girls, to the point where they stopped him from going to the mall. I don't know if that's true. Another allegation I've heard is that Roy Moore used to call up to the school, or did call up to the school, to ask a teenage girl out on a date or something. I'm like, what the hell? What is this? What is this? I don't. Unlike some people, I would rather these allegations be false. I would rather they be false, truly. This is a despicable action. Despicable acts if they're true. I'd rather they not be true and this all be false allegations. That would be a travesty of justice, but it would be better than to have this man preying on teenage girls, don't you think? I mean, what's more important? I would rather that. But let's go on with the article, folks. Earlier this month, a woman named Jamie T. Phillips approached the paper with allegations that Moore, in his 40s at the time, had impregnated her when she was 15. About 2 weeks of interviews with her, the Post confronted her about inconsistencies in her story and about a GoFundMe page under the name announcing a new job working in the conservative media movement to combat the lies and deceit of the liberal MSM or mainstream media. So hold on to everything, guys. The story that Jamie Phillips was pitching was a very salacious story. It's a story that you would want to believe if you were the Washington Post, because it's a story that definitely going to get you a lot of clicks. It would have started a whole new news cycle. New news cycle. It would have started a very prosperous news cycle if it was to take hold. You mean to tell me the allegations were that when Roy was 40, not 35, but when he was 40, he impregnated a 15-year-old. Now, we all know this is not true. This was the plant story. But according to this, and I'm just going according to this, maybe Project Veritas will have a different story. They vetted it for 2 weeks. I don't know how to say this, and I think it just needs to be said. O'Keefe, it looks like you made them look good is what you did. Yeah, you made them look good, man. Come on now. You made them look good. You made them look good. You did. You made them look good. For 2 weeks, they sat on the story. For 2 weeks, they checked it. So, hey, I mean, what can you do? I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. If there's corruption, we want to expose it. But if the inverse occurs, the opposite happens, we got to be like, okay, cool too, right? We got to be cool too, right? Because we're not here to smear, right? We just want the truth. And if the truth is, they do vet their stories. If the truth is, they aren't just grabbing every Roy Moore story they could find, no matter how shady, improbable, far-fetched, how rewarding financially it would be. But if they are vetting those stories, then even if you don't like the Washington Post, you got to admit they didn't take the bait, right? Unless they did take the bait, and this is all spin. But it doesn't look like spin to me. It doesn't look like spin to me. So it looks like O'Keefe took one on the chin. Is there anything else here? It says here, this is only the latest in apparent sting attempts against the Post in light of its bombshell Moore reports. So maybe they didn't win, or maybe O'Keefe was unable to get them this time because they've had their guard up. They said the latest in an apparent sting of attempts. If there's been a lot of attempts, that means there's more than one, so possibly they knew this was coming. And Miss Page posting on her GoFundMe page using the name that she's also using in the story, kind of a giveaway. This is the internet, Miss Phillip. You at least make up a name. I don't know. All right. Give it up for that story, guys. That's what it is. That's right. It's what it is. This is where I break to tell you. My name is Tim Black, and this show is brought to you by you. It ain't brought to you by the GOP. It ain't brought to you by the DNC. It ain't brought by RT. It ain't brought by any other organization. And those people spreading false rumors. False rumors, unfounded, unevidenced, no evidence, not a shred of evidence. If you continue, you will have to deal with me legally. Because this show is funded by the people. It's bad enough for us to be starving over here to have people making scurrilous claims. All right, so give it up for independent media. We all know we do the best we can. Some of us report from our bedrooms. Some of us report from our basements. Some of us have a backdrop that was provided by a good friend over at backdrops.net who sent this to me. My man Sheldon sent this to me like a year ago. So it's hard enough making it work with a little bit of nothing to have people make crazy assertions. Anyway, back to the show. Back to the show. It's like you don't have the new sneakers. You can't afford another car. You barely making ends meet. You got somebody saying you're getting paid by Putin. Come on, man. It's like it pisses you off, but it's also insulting. But it also is like a slap in the face. It's like, damn, man, what? I can't get a date, but I'm a philanderer. Come on, man. All right. Let me go. I said I was moving on. Let's move on. All right, so we all heard about John Conyers, right? Let's do this one. John Conyers. Okay. All right, right. Oh, come on my shirt. Okay. Okay. Representative, let me start that again. Representative John Conyers is in a hot seat because there are many allegations of him sexually harassing staff members. And he's been doing this for quite some time, apparently. Well, just over the weekend, John Conyers announced that he would be stepping down from the House Judiciary Committee. The House Judiciary Committee, right? That's the name of the committee. He's a very high. He's the most senior ranking member in Congress, right? Like the oldest congressperson or something. Like, is it the oldest? What is it with John Conyers? Let's get to this. John Conyers did step down from his position from the House Judiciary and Ethics Committee. That's what it was. And it's because of the sexual allegations. Now, it's crazy what's being said, okay? They're saying this guy will walk into meetings in his drawers. That's what drawers, boxes, just walk in. You know what drawers, you know what drawers are, right? His drawers, his underpants, just walk in. Asking for sexual favors. If you gave him sexual favors, he helped your career. If you didn't, you had problems. It's horrible stuff, right? So this weekend, Nancy Pelosi, who's always very gifted with words, she's not, I'm joking. Nancy Pelosi, in an interview, she made some comments that are very controversial. Nancy Pelosi sat down in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press Chuck Todd on Sunday. They asked her about the embattled Michigan Rep. John Conyers. After all, allegations from a number of former female staffers that veteran Democrat had sexually harassed them were all over the news. So when Nancy Pelosi went to sit down with Chuck Todd, there's no surprise what they're going to talk about. She should have been ready. All of this makes Pelosi's train wreck of an answer on Conyers much worse. Here's what was said, all right? Todd said, so, define zero tolerance. You said there's now zero tolerance. Pelosi, yes. John Conyers, what does that mean for him? Right now, in or out? Pelosi's response was, we are strengthened by our due process. Just because someone is accused, and was it one accusation? Is it two? I think there has to be. John Conyers is an icon in our country. He has done a great deal to protect women. Violence Against Women Act, which the left right wing is now quoting me as praising him for his work on that, and he did great work on that. But the fact is, as John reviews his case, which he knows, which I don't, I believe he will do the right thing. Later in the same interview, Pelosi returns to the idea that the details of Conyers' accusers are vague. Chuck Todd asked her a very point-blank question. He asked her, do you believe John Conyers' accusers? And she says, I don't know who they are. They have not really come forward. The women have come forward. I saw one of them being interviewed, and she didn't have the blackface shadow thing on. You know what I mean? Like they put you in the dark and just change your voice up. None of that was going on. She was talking, looked right in the camera, and she talked about her experience. So that was just one of the accusers. I don't think they're hiding. I think this information's out there. John Conyers settled a lawsuit for an sizable amount of money that taxpayers paid for. So, Nancy Pelosi, look, you can respect the guy for the work he's done and also reject the guy for the crap he's done. Like, you can do both things. But when we're talking about the crap he's done, we should focus on the crap he's done, not try to give him cover by bringing up the good stuff he's done. You know, like, people do good things, people do bad things, but you get punished for the bad shit you do, and let him deal with the repercussions of that. I owe him nothing. You owe him nothing. The truth is what you owe us. Give it up for that. And for anybody who wants to know, because you may not have been following this story closely at all, let me just give you a list of the allegations, okay? In 2015, Conyers' office settled a wrongful dismissal claim with a former employee who said she was let go because she rebuffed the congressman's sexual advances. Conyers has said he admitted no wrongdoing in the settlement and agreed to it solely to avoid a nasty fight. 4 other former female Conyers staffers signed affidavits in that case alleging that they, too, had been the victims of sexual harassment by the congressman. Nancy Pelosi, if 4 people sign an affidavit, they have to provide their names. Okay. Melanie Sloan, a former Conyers staffer, said that he verbally abused and harassed her, although Sloan herself said she did not feel as though Conyers sexually harassed her. She did remember an episode in which the Michigan Democrat called her into his office while wearing only underwear. That's kind of sexual harassment, especially if you're like 75. I don't know how old he was at the time. But no, it's wrong to do, man. You don't call somebody in the room, you in your drawers. That's not good. All right. So I don't know why you want to spin it. Can we just admit people did the wrong thing? If he did it, just say if he did it, he's a pig. Why can't say that? Like because it's sex, nobody wants to be honest. That it? Come on now. Look, hey, I would rather not have to say that, but it's the truth. I don't have time to carry water for somebody. If you did it, you're a garbage individual for doing that. You're utilizing your power over people, and it's awfully disgusting. And put some damn pants on. Grady from Good Times or Sanford and Son. That's it. All right. No, Tim Black, you can't say that about Conyers. Well, I look at it like this. And this is something a lot of people don't do, man. Whenever I hear these type of allegations, I think about my wife, I think about my mom, I think about my sisters, I think about my daughter. You need to stop thinking about yourself sometime and think about the women in your life and think about the situations they've been in where I'm guaranteeing you this. There has been dehumanizing things happen to them that they've never told you. All right? So that's what's real. Now you think about that. And we need to end it. That's all. It's not about caping. It's not about being a white knight. None of that. It's just about the truth, man. The truth. That's all. Go to the bar and pick up women like everybody else, man. Come on, yo. All right. Let's go to this story. This is a story. I think it's John Van Dyke or someone called my show. Was it Bruce called my show? Bruce called my show. I think Van Dyke hit me up in my mentions. It's about a Baltimore police officer who was set to testify against a group of police officers that were being charged with racketeering, drug dealing, all types of horrible things. Well, just before he could testify, he gets dead. Yeah, just out the blue. Possibly by the blue. Get it? All right. Baltimore cop killed day before his testimony against police corruption. A Baltimore homicide detective was fatally shot in the head with his own gun after a struggle with his killer last week. The city's police commissioner said Wednesday Sean Suter, 43, was set to testify before a grand jury the day after he was killed. Commissioner Kevin Davis said the grand jury is looking at a corruption case involving several Baltimore police officers who were federally indicted in March. Now, Suter was an 18-year veteran of the department, was investigating a killing in West Baltimore on November 15th when he saw a man exhibiting suspicious behaviors. The officer died the next day at the hospital. In an apparent attempt to address the speculation of a connection between Suter's murder and the case he was to testify as a witness in or informant or on what basis, they put out this statement. Davis said the shooter and his partner were not lured to the scene of the shooting and made a spontaneous decision to investigate the suspicious man. It certainly makes for great theater, Davis said. We have a police officer who shot and killed. We don't have a really good description of the shooter. And we don't have someone in custody. And lo and behold, I found out after the fact that he was scheduled to testify in front of a federal grand jury. I understand the speculation that exists. It's our responsibility really to follow the evidence, and there's no evidence whatsoever. There's no evidence whatsoever. This is true. But there is evidence of corruption within the Baltimore Police Department, correct? And he was going to testify against said corruption within the Baltimore Police Department, correct? Now, he's killed on the job just before making that testimony. Yeah, that's circumstantial. But where I come from, that looks shady as hell, man. That looks shady as hell. Officer Suter was doing the right thing. Someone took his life. I don't know if we can prove a connection, but I know there's over 200,000. Let me make sure I get this number right. If I'm not mistaken, there's a very sizable reward out there for the shooter. Anyone leading the information about the shooting, killing of Officer Suter. I want it to be known. I come down hard on police officers when they do the wrong thing. That's my job. But I'm going to tell you this. I come down harder on police officers who hurt police officers who do the right thing. Y'all feel me? So we need to stay on top of this case. I know that Sean King was covering it. I'll be covering it every step of the way. I don't know what else to say. I guess they're going to call me a conspiracy theorist for thinking there's a connection between these things. But I don't care what they call me. I want to find the killer of this officer. We must support officers who do the right thing. Do you see what happens when officers do the right thing? Do you see this, America? Do you see it, viewers? Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. You see this? This is why we have problems in our police departments. You're pissing off people with guns. I have not watched the clip of this Davis giving a statement. I was told it looked very suspect. The reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Suter's killer has grown to $215,000. Give it up for that. All right. The next story that I have, I think is very interesting. It's one that's very controversial. It also is one of those stories that makes me feel great that I have followers, people that support this channel, people that watch this channel, who are not lunatics, by the way. You know, not lunatics, not bigoted. Because this is the type of story that bigots use to hold their false beliefs. They prop up their bad beliefs with statements like this. For the record, let it be known, I like Denzel Washington's acting. But Denzel Washington is only an actor. And right now, he's acting like he knows something about police incarceration that he does not know. Maybe he's auditioning for a new role. Guy who puts his foot in his mouth. Denzel Washington speaks out. He says, don't blame the system for black incarceration. It starts at home. Actor Denzel Washington, who plays a lawyer in his new movie, says his views on the American criminal justice system hasn't changed. He said the system shouldn't be blamed for black incarceration because it starts in fatherless homes. Okay. Denzel Washington, where are those fathers at? Prison. Prison. Get it? Prison. That's why. Where do you think they've been, man? All right. Legendary actor Denzel Washington says a recent movie role hasn't changed his views. What did Washington say? Washington, who plays a young, ambitious lawyer in the new movie Roman J. Israel, Esquire, told reporters at the film premiere that his role didn't make him more cynical about the criminal justice system, but reinforced what he already believed. And I quote, he says, "It starts at the home. It starts at the home. It starts with how we raise our children. If a young man doesn't have a father figure, he'll go find a father figure." So, I can't blame the system. It's unfortunate that we make such easy work for them, said the Academy Award-winning actor. What else did he say about it? Well, Washington explained that he has his personal experience growing up around fatherless homes in the black community. "I grew up with guys who did decades in prison, and it had so much to do with their fathers not being in their lives as it had to do with the system. By the time we got 13 or 14, things happened," Washington explains. "Now, I was doing just as much as they were, but they went further. I just didn't get caught. But they kept doing that road. They kept going down that road, and then they were in the hands of the system. But it's about the formative years. You're not born a criminal. You're not born a criminal." Okay. Now, we've all heard about Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, where she painstakingly outlines the criminal justice impact on black communities, on the black family, right? Denzel Washington, we need to get you a damn copy of The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. That's the first place we start. Let's start there. Start by becoming educated. Second thing you need to know, Denzel Washington, you're right. The family is very important. It's extremely important. What also would be important would be jobs. One cannot overlook unemployment in the black community as being part of the reason that there are problems of families being in disarray. Employment, economics has a lot to do with family life. Money is the biggest obstacle, the biggest issue that breaks up families outside of, whenever you're talking, let's leave out the law enforcement part. Let's just talk about that. If people can't work, the stress that it puts on relationships is monumental. If you want to have these conversations, let's have them. But let's also bring some data into it. Now, let's go back to the law enforcement. Law enforcement. Let's just look at drug laws, right? Black people and white people use drugs at about the same rates. You can find this in all reports. Statistically, it's a very small margin of difference. Okay, white people, black people both use drugs. Okay, but black people are 6 times more likely to go to jail for it, and when they go to jail for it, they get longer sentences. Denzel Washington, you must become educated. I don't tell you this to let anybody off the hook. I think we should be good fathers. I think we should be breadwinners. I think we should stay home with our wives and stay home with our families and try to build families. Yes, I do. But to totally take the fucking law enforcement, I don't have any coins for the jar, the law enforcement component off the table, that's a disservice to reality. And it's only fodder for right-wing bastards to make this claim, omitting all of the data that tells you otherwise. My brother, the laws, the stop and frisk by itself, God damn it, the stop and frisk, the pullovers, the stops, the arrests, all of it, all that data is out there. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt. We've had study after study. You could throw a rock and hit a study which shows you this. Even people like Ben Shapiro will admit black people get pulled over and harassed more. They'll just say you deserve it because you're doing more. But this is not even a thing that people doubt, that we get arrested more often. This is common knowledge. For you to be 62 and not know this, not know it, I understand you rich and you live somewhere else. And this is the thing people need to realize. Once you leave the community and you're no longer part of everyday people problems, you no longer will remember them as vividly. How many of the friends that you grew up with were their fathers in the military? Maybe they were in Vietnam. Maybe they had PTSD. I don't know. Could they find work? Or were they in jail? Is that why they weren't home? All these things matter. I'm not saying you're totally wrong. I think the family does have a place. But I think that you are not at all mentioning, and maybe you mentioned it, they took it out of the article. You know, sometimes these interviews, they cut it, they get the part they want to get, okay? But, come on, man. You know, this looks horrible. And it gives people the wrong information that they can run around with to further strengthen their biased beliefs. Anyway, that's it. I don't want to be the dead horse too much longer. Denzel, you need some retraining because this Philadelphia experiment is, I don't know, against the odds. I don't know. It's horrible. Yeah, I don't know what you give it up for that. So that's all I got, man. That's all I have, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for tuning in. Remember, this show is donated. It's donation-driven. And if you want to give to the show, if you like the show, please go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. Find it in the description box below. Go to YouTube and find it out. Find out how you can give to the show and become part of the show. And join Tim Black's Wolfpack. I got the greatest fans on the internet. Never feel sorry for me. I got the best fans any guy could ever ask for, or woman. All right? Share this broadcast with a friend if you're on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. I appreciate it. This week, I'm lining up guests. Tomorrow morning, I'll be on Fault Lines with my friends Garland Nixon and Lee Stranahan, where we're going to discuss Jordan Sheridan, sexual harassment allegations, sexual misconduct, and the broader point, but also about Jordan. So they wanted to have that conversation. I'm going to have it with them. I'm also in the works of lining up interviews with Katie Halper, Luke Rudowski from We Are the Change, and I'm still working on others. So I got some great shows coming your way. On Thursday, I'll be doing a live stream with Mike Figueredo, Ron Placone, and that's going to be great, and I'll tell you more about that as we get closer to it. If you are in indie media and you are doing your thing and you got questions or whatever, you need some advice or whatever, hit me up at tim@timblacktv.com. Our job is to replicate ourselves across the internet. We need more people speaking truth to power, not less people speaking truth to power. Email me at tim@timblacktv.com if you want any advice, and I'll do whatever I can to help you out. You got it? All right. Shout out to Nico House, Anoa Changa for having my back on Twitter, and all the people that fight the good fight. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, don't you let nobody take your cornbread. We are out of here.
Tim Black. Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am. True. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black.
God. Bibby Bowman says, I hate when they suicide themselves with multiple gunshots of different calibers in the back of the head. I told you I got the best fans. God, it's horrific. Peace, y'all.